Hey everybody, it's Lee here. Just got off work. I don't know, probably around about 3 o'clock today. It's almost 7 o'clock now. But anyhow, I come home and me and Teresa walked around, done a few things and stuff, and then I decided I was going to come up here to the garden and do a few things and get some things in check, because next week all of our temperature is supposed to be 95 to 100 degrees actual air temperature, and so the heat indexes are supposed to be around 105, 110, and I know that I would not be wanting to do anything up here in that kind of temperature after work. So I went on ahead and come up here and got the garden in check. So it's just going to be a quick garden update on what it looks like right now. I know I'm probably going to have to do a whole lot of irrigation and soaker hose next week, because we do not have any kind of rain in the forecast. Okay, first and foremost is, after I got done doing the garden, I made me a border around it. I think it looks better like that, with a border. But this is all of our sunflowers, or some of our sunflowers. These are the gigantic sunflowers that we normally grow. And there's a dog. That's my baby girl though. She's a good girl. But anyhow, we're gonna come all the way down here. There's my other border. But anyhow, I went on ahead and come out here. I weeded. Went on ahead and tilled. Got everything back the way it should be. I had to go back in and replant a few watermelons that did not come up. Some of them's doing really good though. And then Teresa and Lana, they went today to a guy that is selling some plants, and she ended up buying me a couple more watermelon plants, so I had to put them up there at the very end. There. Luckily they're the same kind. So these are her, I don't remember what they're called. Some kind of melon. Kajari melon or something. They're starting to climb the fence. Her cucumbers. These are a couple that she actually planted in the greenhouse. And so they're a little bit ahead of what I planted straight in the ground. But they're starting to get loaded with a bunch. A little bit of cucumbers, if you can see them. So hopefully we'll have a bunch of cucumbers, and she can make the grandkids a bunch of pickles. I'm not really fond of pickles. Here's a regular cayenne pepper that she bought whenever she went with Lana over there today. At the guy's house, he lives probably, I don't know, maybe 8 miles from here. And he's got a bunch of plants, she said. And evidently most of them's gonna go to waste. So he was selling most of them for like 50 cents a piece. But my onions are definitely starting to swell. I don't think I'm ever gonna do any more red onions, because for some reason they just do not do what I want my onions to do. As you can see, that one there, that's It's really a good size onion. And all of the white or yellow onions, whatever you want to call them, down through here are doing really, really well. But for some reason, my red onions just don't, most of them never do swell up like I'm wanting them to. So I don't think I'm going to do them anymore. I'm just going to do the white or yellow onions. All my potatoes up through there, they're looking really good. Don't know what's going on under the ground, but got it all healed up good. Hopefully I have a good crop of them. My beans here, they're actually starting to come in pretty good, starting to bush out some. They're Blue Lake bush beans. That's what we normally like to grow. So got a wild sunflower come up from last year, and we got several herd of tomato plants. Don't judge me on my orange ribbon tape up there. Sometimes I like to be able to see, make sure where my plants are. Now, I just didn't have no green to be able to tie it up there. I'd prefer that, but the orange works just as well. I have several rows of it, so that's what I'm going to use. And then she's got I think it's Star of David okra right here that she had me plant. They're finally coming on in pretty decent. Not down here on this end, but well, they'll catch up. And then I've got the 2 rows of the crimson red okra. I think it's called crimson red, or it's crimson something, I know that much. Then I got my peanuts down through here that I'm growing. I love peanuts. And then she's got a row of some black oil sunflower seed, or sunflowers. So we'll get the black oil sunflower seeds off of them. And then I gotta get up here and weed eat around these again. These are her blueberry bushes. I know y'all have seen all this stuff many a times, but I'm just trying to give an update. My gooseberries, one of them, I think it's got 1 gooseberry on it. This one here, it's got several on it. They're starting to turn. Can't wait to get a hold of them. I ain't had a gooseberry since I was probably 17 years old. So it's been 30 years. And then I got her other little spot over here, tilled back over. She's got some plants out there. I can't remember what they are, but they're looking good. So anyhow, that's what we got going on.
Hi folks, it's Teresa. Lee's phone died, so his video got cut short. And he was pretty much showing his garden, the big garden that he takes care of. And he was about done with it. So I'm going to show a few things in my garden. And we'll just make this a whole garden tour. So this is something we just done yesterday. We took some of that compost. We bought that dump truck load of compost. It was $20 a bucket, and he took a dump truck from work and got 4 buckets. So we had lots and lots of beautiful compost, and it's really nice compost. So we filled all my raised beds with that, and we have filled buckets and planters and everything we could think of. And we made this little flower bed around our birch tree. This is a river birch that we planted here when we while we were building the house. We planted this little birch, river birch. Another one came out later, and now there's another one coming out, if you can see that little one there beside it. But they were all about that size when we planted them, and we planted 3. Now another one sprouted out of that and got big, and now another one's coming up. Anyway, so this is my favorite little tree. It's right in front of our house, and I have wind chimes hanging from it. And so my friend Lana gave me these heuchera. I like to call them coral bells because that's easier to say. They are heuchera, I think is the correct name for them, heuchera. So she gave me these 2 on this side, and then a couple of days ago I bought a bigger one on sale, and it's on the other side there. Now these 2 are purple. I can't think of the name of them. The bigger one I bought there is Purple Palace or something like that. And anyway, we're going to get more rocks to go around that. That is just some rocks I already had around this tree, because I do have some daffodils planted there and some hostas. The hostas weren't doing very good, so we just covered those up. But I did dig up the daffodil bulbs and put in there, so they'll come back up. So there you go. And there's some of my wind chimes hanging up in this tree. And there's a big one on the other side over here. Anyway, there's a little one. And there's my big one. A big one. I've got a bigger one out there by my porch that my daughters gave me for Mother's Day. It's big. Seen my sitting area. I've got flowers around it. Our grapes are doing great. And show them real quick. I've shown all this, but everything's of course getting bigger and better. Look there, all over. So the grapes are doing great. These are Concord grapes. They have a big seed. I wish we'd have done a different grape because these have a big seed, but we still use them. We use them for jelly and juice. There's a tomato plant. I like to put tomato plants and some different things, herbs and tomato plants. I sort of spread around, and I don't just put them in my herb garden. I spread them around all over, and then we put tomato plants in the big garden also. And by the rabbits, I have a tomato plant with basil underneath. So let's go out here to my herb garden. I am watering right now. It's early in the morning, and I am watering right now because we're not going to get rain for like 2 weeks, it looks like, and it's going to be very hot and no rain. So I turned on the sprinkler. I like this kind of sprinkler. I call it an old-fashioned sprinkler. It's the bar kind that does kind of a fan of water. And Lee has a different kind up there on the big garden that sprinkles out across there, but I like this kind of fanned out kind. Anyway, so while it's watering, I've got herbs in here, and I've shown this before. I've shown the different things I have in there. One thing, I love the raised beds because I haven't had hardly any weeds, and I can reach it better. I can reach everything better. I don't have to hoe and weed in there. And and things are kind of up higher off the ground, and I can reach and not have to bend over a lot. In my old age with my arthritis, I appreciate this. So I've got a lot of herbs in there and a lot of marigold. I probably planted too much marigold because it is really, I just sprinkled it out there not thinking that it would all come up, and it has. And some of these tall ones are giant marigolds that I got from Bub at Getting Started on Homesteading, and they are really just taking over. I could have got a whole lot more herbs in there and plants in there if I hadn't have done so many marigolds, but that's okay. I'm hoping they will keep the bugs down. And so far, so good. That's all I can say. I'm gonna knock on this wood right here on my fence because so far I've had no pests, and I'm gonna knock again because I'm telling you, I don't know. I've prayed over this garden. I have sat on my little bench up here and prayed over this garden, and we have this really good compost that we've put in here, and I have used, the things I have used are, I used some DE and cayenne pepper. I read or saw where cayenne pepper would keep certain bugs away, so I did sprinkle cayenne pepper all around and DE. Other than that, just hoping. I'm hoping that the marigolds, I've got marigolds, nasturtiums, and basil planted all around. So some of those things maybe have helped. The DE, the cayenne, and the prayer. That's what I've done. So I will get in there. Let's see. I don't want to get wet. All right. That arch has my scarlet runner beans on it, and they are doing wonderful and beautiful. But so they have red blooms, and they are edible beans. So there you go. That's my scarlet runner bean arch, and lots of different tomatoes in there, and like I said, herbs, basils, Malabar spinach in there. All right, there's my seating area with my umbrella. Now you see some color. I've got some pop of color, and we'll go in. Here's my little gate. We'll go in. Lee built all this for me. I really appreciate that. I have a video showing some of the things and talking about how wonderful he built everything for me and done things for me. But we're just going to do a quick garden tour showing how things are growing. So there's some nasturtium and basil all around, and then that marigold. I probably shouldn't have planted so much marigold because I could have got more plants in here without all the marigold. But like I said, hopefully there's my yarrow. Isn't my yarrow beautiful? Look at that. I have a pink yarrow that I got from my friend Lana. Okay, we'll do the other side since this is watering over here and about to get me wet. And now I'll show you what I've done with my squash, because I have a problem with squash bugs here, or I have had before. So this year I tried something different. I put my squash in buckets, and I have them right around my big patch of mint. I have a big trough that it's an old watering trough for the horse that has mint growing in it. So I have put these squash plants in buckets right up here by the mint. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, so far so good. I have not had any pests on them yet. So there you go. About a little DE in there. Didn't do a whole lot. I just sprinkled a little DE around. And this side is zucchini. That side was yellow squash. This side I've got 3 buckets of zucchini. And like I said, they're doing great. I can tell there's going to be some squash on there, and I haven't seen any pests yet. All right, here's the other bed. I've got a few little pretties in there, and then I've got the lemon balm and roselle and tomato plants that are doing wonderful. My tomato plants are really looking healthy and good. There's some sage. There's my nasturtiums and basil. I've used a lot of my basil already. And then this side, this trellis has Kajari melon growing, and they are doing great. Let me get a close-up of that. Those are doing really good. Blooms and things, and I know I'm going to get some Kajari melon this year, so I'm excited about that. I've never had it before. I've heard about it so much and never had Kajari melon, so I'm excited about that. Yeah, I've got a little pepper plant still in a pot. There's more of those marigolds. They are just taking over. But that's okay. If they keep the pests off, that's all right. I love marigolds and nasturtiums. Another tomato plant. There's some comfrey. I had to really dig a bunch of comfrey out. It was taken over already, and I dug a bunch of it out and threw it out and put it in compost and stuff like that. And there's another tomato plant. It's not doing as good. I think it was shaded more. But anyway, or it got stunted. There's some catnip, and I have cut a bunch of that out already and dried it. So, of course, his strawberries are spent. They're done for the year. Now, in the fall, these are ever-bearing strawberries. They will bloom again when the weather cools down in the fall. They'll bloom again and have more strawberries. And then there's another cucumber. That's a lemon cucumber that Lana gave me. It's doing great. Lee put up that little trellis for it to grow on for me. So there you go. There's a look from this side of my herb garden. That's just an update. I know I've showed it a couple of times, but it's growing so good, and I just know it's going to be so bountiful harvest. And I have sat right there on that bench and prayed for this garden and thanked the Lord for this garden and for our property and for Lee. So anyway, there you go. I'm going to let this water just a little bit longer and then move it to the other side over here and water it this morning. It won't get sun till about 11 o'clock, so there's plenty of time for it to water and get dry. So, okay. There you go. There's my herb garden tour. And Lee showed you his. And there's my little shade garden. I put some shade-loving plants up on a pallet out here. So, there you go, folks. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and watch us on Friday nights at 7 Central, where Lee has a good time and gets a little crazy sometimes. But that's just Lee for you. He acts silly when he's having a good time. So there you go. Come watch Lee act silly. And we'll talk about some gardening topics and foraging topics and things like that. And come join us.